All right, let's talk about something nobody tells you when you join the military. You're prepared for combat. You're prepared for deployment. You're ready to sacrifice everything for your country. But here's what they don't warn you about: the absolute psychological warfare that financial stress can wage on your mind. Picture this. It's 2 a.m. You're staring at your ceiling. Your heart's racing, and not because you're worried about an upcoming mission. You've trained for that and you're ready. You're panicking because you just looked at your bank account and the math isn't mathing. Your spouse is worried. Your kids need things, and you feel like the biggest failure on the planet because you're supposed to be tough, right? You're supposed to have everything together. Here's the plot twist that's going to blow your mind. The military actually has an incredible resource specifically designed for this exact problem. And it's called psychotherapy. And yes, it's covered. And no, it won't affect your career. And absolutely yes, it can specifically help with money stress, guilt, and depression. Let me break down what most service members and even financial professionals don't know about the mental health services available to you that can transform your relationship with money. First, let's get real about what's happening. A recent Army study found that 58% of enlisted families say that military pay is their top concern. 70% of families report spending over $500 out of pocket during relocations and taking more than a year to recover financially. Research shows that financial hardship among military personnel is directly linked to PTSD, depression, anxiety, insomnia, and even physical aggression. This isn't just about being bad with money. This is trauma. Financial trauma is real, it's documented, and it's affecting mission readiness. Now, here's where it gets interesting. You have access to psychotherapists through multiple channels, and they're specifically trained to handle the emotional side of money problems. Let's start with TRICARE. Yes, the same TRICARE. Under TRICARE, you get comprehensive mental health coverage that includes individual psychotherapy. And here's what that means to you in plain English. You can see a licensed clinical psychologist, a psychiatric nurse specialist, or a licensed therapist who can help you work through the guilt, shame, anxiety, and depression that comes with financial stress. These aren't financial advisors. They're trained mental health professionals who understand that your relationship with money is tangled up with how you were raised and what you've experienced and the stories that you tell yourself. Active duty members need a referral from your primary care manager, but get this, if you go to a military hospital or clinic for outpatient mental health services, you don't need pre-authorization. Family members and dependents, you can start immediately. No referral needed. Just call TRICARE and get connected. And here's something wild. TRICARE covers up to 60-minute individual psychotherapy sessions when it's medically or psychologically necessary. Crisis sessions can go even longer. They also cover family therapy, group therapy, and even collateral visits where your therapist can talk to other people involved in your care. You can do this in person, over the phone, or through secure video. Companies like Telemind and Talkspace specifically work with TRICARE to provide mental health care from wherever you are. But wait, because this is where it gets even better. You also have access to Military OneSource. This is completely free, completely confidential counseling service available 24/7, 365. Call 1-800-342-9647 anytime. There are master's and doctoral level mental health professionals, psychologists, licensed clinical social workers, marriage and family therapists, and they offer short-term solution-focused counseling for up to 12 sessions per issue per family member. And yes, one of those issues can absolutely be financial stress. Now, here's the critical part. These sessions are confidential and not reported to your command. They won't affect your security clearance. They won't go in your military record. The only exceptions are if there's imminent danger to yourself or others, suspected family maltreatment, or illegal activity. Otherwise, what you talk about stays between you and your counselor. And there's more. The Military Family Life Counseling Program puts licensed therapists directly on or near military installations. These counselors are embedded at military and family support centers, at schools, even with specific units. They provide free, confidential, non-medical counseling for stress management, deployment issues, parenting, grief, and absolutely for financial stress and the emotions around money. You don't need an appointment. You don't need a referral. You just walk in and talk. Now let's talk about what psychotherapists actually do when it comes to money problems, because this is where the magic happens. Imagine you're sitting with a therapist and you say, I feel guilty every time I spend money on myself. A financial counselor might help you create a budget and show you that you can afford it. That's valuable, sure. But a psychotherapist, they're going to ask, where does that money guilt come from? What did money mean in your childhood? What stories did you learn about people who spend money on themselves? They're going to help you unpack the why behind your behavior. Or let's say you avoid looking at your bank account. You know you need to check it, but the anxiety is so intense, you physically just can't do it. A psychotherapist can use techniques like cognitive behavioral therapy to help you recognize that your avoidance is a trauma response, maybe from growing up in poverty, maybe from a sudden financial loss, maybe from watching your parents fight about money. They'll help you develop coping strategies to manage that anxiety and actually confront your finances without your nervous system going into full panic mode. Here's another scenario. You're a young enlisted member and you're drowning in credit card debt. You feel ashamed. You think everyone else has it figured out. You're too embarrassed to ask for help. That shame is keeping you stuck. A psychotherapist can help you understand that shame says something is wrong with me, while guilt says I made a mistake. Guilt motivates change. Shame paralyzes you. Therapy helps you move from shame to guilt to action. Financial therapists, yes, this is an actual certified specialty that combines mental health counseling with financial planning, uses techniques like EMDR, eye movement desensitization, and reprocessing to actually process traumatic financial memories. One study described a client who couldn't pursue her creative career because she felt guilty about money after being shamed as a child for wanting dance lessons. Through EMDR, she processed those memories, reframed her beliefs, and went on to build a successful career doing what she loved. Financial trauma can be healed. Psychotherapists also use cognitive processing therapy to help you challenge stuck beliefs like, I'll never get ahead, or I'm terrible with money. They help you see that these aren't facts. They're learned responses that can be unlearned. And this is the crucial part that nobody talks about. You can and should use psychotherapy alongside financial counseling. They complement each other. They're not the same thing. And personal financial counselors, these are the free financial counselors available on military installations, are highly trained professionals with certifications like the accredited financial counselor or chartered financial consultant or certified financial planner designations. They help you with budgets, credit management, retirement planning, home buying, understanding your military benefits. That's their expertise. They give you the practical tools and knowledge. But here's what they can't do. They can't help you process the emotional trauma that makes you sabotage your own budget. They can't treat the anxiety that keeps you from opening bills. They can't address the depression that's making it hard to care about your financial future. That's where psychotherapy comes in. The integrated approach looks like this. You see a personal financial counselor who helps you create a realistic budget, explains the thrift savings plan, and shows you how to tackle your debt. Meanwhile, you're also seeing a psychotherapist who helps you understand why you overspend when you're stressed, why you feel unworthy of financial stability, and how to manage the anxiety that comes up when you think about money. Together, these two professionals give you both the practical skills and the emotional resilience to actually change your financial life. That is what researchers call financial empowerment. It's not just about having money. It's about feeling empowered to make good decisions, feeling worthy of financial security, and having the mental and emotional tools to handle whatever comes your way. Let me paint a real-world picture. You're a sergeant. You've been in for 6 years. You've PCSed twice in 3 years. Your spouse has struggled to find work because every time they get established, you move. You're using your basic allowance for subsistence to feed your family, even though it's technically only for you. You're $15,000 in credit card debt. You're not sleeping. You're irritable with your kids. Your marriage is strained. You feel like a failure. Here's what the integrated approach looks like. You reach out to your installation's personal financial counselor through Army Community Service or your equivalent family support center. They help you map out your debt, create a payment plan, connect you with resources like emergency assistance from the Army Emergency Relief, and show you how to build a small emergency fund. That's the practical side of things. Simultaneously, you call Military OneSource and get connected to a licensed therapist. Over the next several weeks, you work through the guilt you feel about the debt, the shame around needing help, the anxiety that's keeping you up at night. You learn that your nervous system learned to associate money with danger because of your childhood experiences. You develop grounding techniques to use before you look at your finances. You start sleeping better. The tension in your marriage eases because you're not carrying all that emotional weight alone anymore. 6 months later, you've paid down $4,000 of debt. You have $1,000 in your emergency fund. More importantly, you can look at your bank account without your heart racing, and you and your spouse can talk about money without fighting. You feel empowered instead of defeated. That's the power of combining practical financial coaching with psychotherapy. And here's something most people don't realize. Research has found that addressing financial stress through mental health support significantly improves relationships. It reduces stress and it enhances overall well-being. A Rand Corporation study showed that counseling through Military OneSource is effective in reducing stress and boosting resilience. When financial hardship is reduced, depression, anxiety, and even PTSD symptoms improve. Here's what to do right now. If you're experiencing financial stress, start by acknowledging that this is normal. Most people have financial stress, even if they have money. And most people struggle with money, so you're not alone and you're not broken. Your brain learned to respond to money in a certain way, and you can teach it to respond differently. Step 1, call Military OneSource at 1-800-342-9647 and ask to speak to a counselor about financial stress. You'll get connected to a master's or doctoral level mental health professional who can help you process the emotions around money. And if you need longer-term therapy, get connected through TRICARE by talking to your primary care manager or calling your TRICARE regional contractor. Step 2, find a personal financial counselor on your installation. Go to finred.usalearning.gov/PFCMAP or call Military OneSource to find one. Set up an appointment to work on the practical side, like budgeting, debt management, and understanding your benefits. And step 3, be honest with your therapist, your financial counselor, and with yourself. You can't fix what you won't acknowledge. Financial stress isn't a character flaw. It's a common struggle with specific solutions. Remember, these resources exist because the military knows that financial stress undermines readiness. Being financially and mentally healthy isn't just good for you, it's good for the mission. Using these resources isn't weakness. It's strategic, it's smart, it's taking care of yourself so you can take care of your mission and your family. Your relationship with money can change. The guilt can lift, the anxiety can ease, the shame can dissolve, but it starts with understanding that money stress isn't just about numbers. It's about emotions, beliefs, and trauma. And all of those things can be addressed with the right support. You have access to world-class mental health care and financial counseling. Use them together. Transform your financial life from the inside out.